Hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome to YouTube. I don't know if you guys have heard of this or not, um, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing these things on the YouTubes occasionally. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Chris. I go by CW719. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I also have a podcast called Procedurally Generated. I'm an aspiring voiceover actor slash artist. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm an okay person, all things considered. So I play a lot of video games. I do so, like I said, on Twitch. And one thing people have asked me is to offer up my thoughts on these games as I wrap them up. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that starting in 2022, which is now. It is the second day of 2022. But this is a game from 2021. I had been putting this off a little bit. I got sick last week, but we're gonna go ahead and do this. So this is Halo Infinite. This is the campaign. I'm not going to be talking about multiplayer or anything like that. I'll touch on my history with Halo and all that stuff. Multiplayer was a big part of it, but this specific video is for the campaign. So, I come from a background rooted in Halo. I love Halo. I'm one of the olds, all right? I'm one of the people that had a group of friends every Friday, without fail. We would grab our giant CRT TVs, our original Xboxes. We'd go over to our friend's house, and occasionally we'd spend some time at a friend's cabin. A group of us would get together, typically no less than 8, sometimes as many as 16, and we would just run Blood Gulch over and over and over and over again. And that was kind of what we did. That was it. It was all the high school was. We would go into the wee hours, all hopped up on Mountain Dew, just loving life. This was a commitment. To me, this was more significant now, or this was more significant back then than the same kind of situation these days, because we had to move our CRT TVs. I had like a 36-inch Zenith CRT TV, tube television. That thing was 120 of the most awkward pounds I've ever carried in my life. And we would do it every week. There are weeks where I would get home after, and the TV would stay like downstairs. My bedroom was upstairs. The TV would stay downstairs. I would go for a full week without a TV in my bedroom because I didn't want to take it back up the stairs again. Though, I just wouldn't do it. So it would just sit there until next week when I had to pack it up into the car, take it back over to my friend's house, get it all together and run it again. So we did this every weekend. There were expectations in place. There was a lot of effort in place. Friday nights were for Halo and the boys. So that is what Halo was to me. So when they announced Halo Infinite, I've fallen off the series a little bit. 4 and 5 are not great, in my opinion. Halo 1, 2, and 3, 1 and 2 specifically, those are like my prime Halo days. So to find out that they were going to go back and do Halo Infinite and try to capture that Halo 1, Halo 2 essence, yes, I was intrigued. I was excited. I wanted to see this happen. So that's a little backstory for me in relation to Halo, how I look at Halo as a gamer. And like I said, those were multiplayer experiences though back in the day. Like I've played the campaigns and all that stuff, but when we got together, we were playing multiplayer. This video, no multiplayer. I'm also gonna try not to spoil things, but I'm gonna say spoilery stuff. So if you haven't played the game, maybe don't watch this. All right. Let me see here. When I do these videos, one goal that I definitely want to have is I want to make sure that I don't bury the lead. So I'm going to talk about the things that I enjoyed about the game first. We're going to discuss that stuff. And then I'll carry on into my criticisms thereafter. I don't want, I mean, unless I had an actual terrible negative time with a game, I don't want to present that as my experience. I want to bring the positivity forth, and then I want to talk about the criticism and stuff thereafter. So that's how that will go. Finally, last note, I'm not a Halo expert. I talked about my backstory and stuff like that. I was a kid playing multiplayer. That's it. Halo was the first real first-person shooter that I really got into. GoldenEye was up there, but this one introduced the twin sticks concept. I mean, FPS games owe a lot to Halo. I believe that 100%, but I am not a lore expert. You're going to find that out shortly when I try to explain this stuff. There are things about the series I simply don't know. So be gentle. All right, I'm approaching it with my eyes and my eyes only. I want to make sure that that expectation is extremely clear. I am not a super fan or anything like that. So I think that's an intro. Let's dive right in. All right. I'm going to start with the positives. Like I said, I've got 6 main positives that I want to talk about. All right. The first one is a big one. Halo's been around for a very, very, very long time. Halo Infinite, in my experience and in my opinion, has the best feeling shooting mechanics of any Halo game I've played thus far. It feels amazing. And not just some guns. Every gun can be used in a pinch. I have my favorites, I have my go-tos, but when things are looking dire, I can grab anything and feel like, all right, I'm gonna be okay here. I'm gonna be fine. I guess I should also caveat this with a note that I did not play on Legendary or Heroic. I played this on normal mode. I just played through the story. I had plenty of problems. There's some difficult parts. I've heard Legendary is incredibly hard. I'm not that kind of gamer. I don't want to do that to myself. In my experience playing on normal, every gun was a viable option. Again, had my go-tos, but I could use whatever to make it go. The headshots felt on point. I always felt in control of the battles, regardless of what I was doing. So that is my first point. Gun feel, top notch, the best the series has ever been. The locomotion, the walking around bits. How's the walking around? The walking around is good. It's very good. But walking's for nerds. Real heroes grapple hook places. The grappling hook in this game is a game changer. This tool is so useful that at times I felt like I was cheating the devs by playing the game I was playing. There's a path to the top of this very giant mountain that weaves all the way around. I could do that. I could go that way. Or I could take 20 seconds to just continually grapple my way up this path and get what I need. It almost felt like cheating at times. Now, obviously, it's not. The devs put it in there that way. But that thing was a game changer. You would zoom across the map so much quicker using the grapple hook. It was fun. You could kind of direct yourself around trees, swing from tree to tree, get a little Tarzan action going. This game is so focused on verticality that without the grapple hook, this game would take a massive hit, in my opinion. Everything you do would take so much longer. It would be so much more deliberate to get to your locations. So the grapple hook is not only an amazing tool to have, it is absolutely essential. Third thing, weapon upgrades. Now, this game doesn't do weapon upgrades like a lot of other games do. The weapon upgrades are hidden behind bounties that you accomplish as you play through the game. They take a base weapon and add a couple perks to it here and there. Disruptor rounds or a disruptor, one of the guns in the game, one of the guns that I got has rounds that when you shoot it, when they land on an enemy, they then explode. It was basically a gun that it's fine in the game. It's one of those like I can get by with it, but it's not my go-to unless I have the bounty version of the gun, because then it's essentially kind of a 1 or 2 shot kill. So those upgrades were great, and I think every game I did all the bounties, and I think when it was all said and done, every base gun in the game had an updated bounty version of it that added different perks. Some of those perks were better than others. Again, just like the base weapons, some of those upgraded weapons were better than others, but still cool. Interesting that they had those. So the big buddy himself, Master Chief. Again, on the positives, this is my 4th positive for the game. Master Chief will never be the outgoing, rambunctious little rascal that we want him to be, right? Master Chief is stoic, and he presents himself as somebody who is very focused on the job at hand. And therefore, I've always felt Master Chief is a little bit of a blank slate. He has never really been. Yes, he's menacing to look at. He has a very recognizable appearance, Doom guy. But he is. His personality was never going to take him far. That being said, in Halo Infinite, there are instances, there are points in the game where he shares his opinion, where he says some things, and for the first time, I felt like Master Chief had a soul. Again, he is what he is. He's not talking up a storm or anything like that. He's not doing any of that stuff. But sometimes there are lines that he delivered in this game that made him feel so much more empathetic than I've ever thought of him as being before. Some of his deliveries ended up being a lot more somber and reflective than I would have thought. And they were delivered just so well that I think Master Chief himself, again, this goes back to what I said a little bit ago, where I'm not a lore expert. I can't remember every bit of every game, but I don't ever remember him feeling, I don't ever remember getting the vibe from him that he was this emotional character. I never imagined him to have emotions, honestly, other than go, 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 finish the mission. So this was a nice tone. And again, it didn't happen often. It doesn't change him as a character, but it does flesh him out to be a little bit more of an emotional individual, if that makes sense. That's number 4. Number 5, another character in the game, the pilot. I know they announce his name at the end, but I leave that for people. I can absolutely sympathize with what he's going through. When things fire up and he is stranded in space, and that is it. You know, it's him being like, well, we're done. That's it. We had a good run, and just kind of accepting the fact that his journey was coming to an end when he happens upon Master Chief. The emotions that he must have had going from I'm saved, we're going to be fine, I can go back, to having it go completely 180, be like, oh wait, no, now I'm going to go fight some more. I'm already a broken man. I can't do this. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to go home. I'm done. We lost. And just identify, especially the inclusion of his wife and daughter, which I'm a little fuzzy on one part of that. Later on, there's a revelation that comes through, and I don't actually know what the status is of his family, but even so, I just think he was a character that I can 100% sympathize with. I think he was probably one of the highlights character wise in the game. Another honorable mention would go to the Brutes, I think, as well. I think that those characters were really menacing and intimidating and well acted and well voiced, and I enjoyed them quite a bit as well. And then my final positive is the initial introduction to the open world. This was the first. This is where 17, 18-year-old me and currently 36-year-old me came together to see old Halo meet new Halo, meet modern gaming sensibilities, merged together. And it happened the moment the door opened and we looked out from the starting area that we had just kind of wandered through. It looked amazing. I for the first time, I grasped what this game was trying to be, and it was stunning. It was fantastic. Now I'm gonna circle back to that here in just a little bit, but those are the 6 positives that I took away. Don't worry, at the end of the video, I'll recap kind of what the do a little TLDR to get you guys dialed in on what I went over. So those are my positives. Let's talk about some criticisms. All right, this is not a perfect game. This is not a perfect game. These are the takeaways that I had that I wish could have been improved, eliminated altogether, somehow communicated better. Here we go. This one, this first one, I put it on here, even though I admittedly it doesn't affect me much. I had no interest in playing this game co-op, but I had multiple people as I was playing through this on Twitch come in and tell me that they were, hey, stopping by to say hello. I'm avoiding all spoilers until co-op comes out. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. No worries. That's fine. And then I found out co-op doesn't come out till June. And I'm like, you what? You're going to wait until June. And I realized like how important the co-op piece to this game is to not just people in my community, but the community overall. There are friends that have been eagerly anticipating the opportunity to play this game together as like a kind of a callback to better times. 2020, 2021 have been a nightmare. I think about that, and it's like the fact that co-op doesn't exist. Man, what an addition that would have been to this game. Being able to escape to co-op Halo, just like back in middle school, elementary school, high school, whatever. Yeah, that would have been. It's something that I completely whiffed on initially, but I realized how important it was afterwards. It's too bad that co-op is not there. I get it. They had a lot of stuff to do. They delayed this game a year, and they just couldn't get co-op ready. But it's a shame it wasn't there. So, my second criticism, which I may have mentioned, I have 5 main criticisms. My second criticism, the tools, the default ability to select your tools. I never got used to it. It's a series of D-pad button presses to select what you want, and it feels like they're in the wrong spot. For that reason, I primarily stayed with my grappling hook. There were occasionally where I had to kind of like in the midst of a fight where I realized, oh, I need my radar beacon tool ready to go. I can't find it. This guy's chasing me around. I'm pushing D-pad buttons. Nothing's happening. I'm trying to like look at the screen to make sure I'm not about to get stabbed. Looking at kind of the options, which are really small and tiny, and my old eyes can't read it. So it led to some like panic that it's not the good panic. Not like, oh man, this is a very scary situation that I'm in. It was more like, I don't know how to push the buttons to make the thing go that I need to make this fight happen. So for whatever reason, I don't know if that could have been tied to something different. Switching tools on the fly never felt comfortable for me. Okay. This next one is kind of this might affect me more than it affects others. I have talked about this with other people, and some of them are on the same page as I am. But the overall story of what's going on in this game is basically lost on me. Like I said, big fan of Halo 1, big fan of Halo 2, pretty big fan of Halo 3, not a fan of Halo 4, not a fan of Halo 5. That being the case, that could be my problem here, but the story is continuing something that I had no interest in. I knew that I didn't have a lot of familiarity with Halo 4 and 5. So before I played Infinite, I read a catch-up article that GameSpot had, which I'll post in the link below, or I'll post down below. And I was doing it as kind of a refresher. I'm like, this is great. This will tell me, it'll remind me of the things that I can't remember off the top of my head. And I read it, and I found that as I was reading it, I was less reminded and more introduced to some concepts in Halo 4 and 5 that I either completely forgot about, missed entirely while playing. I was hoping for a Spark Note. I mean, I was hoping for a review. I ended up getting like a Spark Notes version of the 2 games. And still really didn't know what was going on. It didn't help bridge the gap to Halo Infinite. So in the end, I found myself pretty disappointed with the overall story. I might be alone in that because there's people that are very much into the lore of Halo way more than I am. Those people might be very happy with it. Me personally, I think the story was kind of a mess. Going on to my fourth criticism, and this one's kind of a two-parter, so we'll call this 4A. I mentioned earlier how much I liked the initial introduction to the open world. One of the criticisms I have is that it's not an open world. It's just not. By the end of the game, maybe. But you can't just do whatever you want to do. There was one point in the game where I was just trying to clear check or waypoints off the map. I jumped across a gap that I guess I wasn't supposed to jump across. It took some work. It took like some tries. It took some effort, but I was like, well, it's, I'm going to try to get over there. There's things there. I made it across, used my grappling hook, shambled up. And as soon as I got to the top, the screen flashed red and said I was outside of I need to return to the battle. And it did that, 10-second countdown saying like, you got to get to the battle or you're just going to die. And I died. And I realized, oh, you're not an open world game at all. I do what you tell me to when you want me to. It's framed as an open world. They're open environments, but this is not an open world game. It doesn't necessarily have a big impact on the game, I think, but I just wanted to make sure that I made that clear. This is not an open world game. By the end of the game, you can consider it more so, but the first 60% of the game, there are still areas that you can't go to, even though you can see them on the map. You can't get there. Even if you can get there, the game won't let you. So the other thing, and nobody's talking about this, and it kind of drives me nuts because one of the things that I enjoyed so much about Halo 1 and Halo 2 were the contained biomes within the ring. There are no different environments in this game. Every environment is the exact same from the moment you step out of those initial tunnels to when you finish the game. Everything looks identical. There are no snow areas, there's no jungle areas. There's nothing other than that same aesthetic being presented the entire way through. From island to island, it all looks identical. I think this is a massive miss. I again, when you get to the snowy part in Halo, it feels like you've gone to a different world. It just feels so much different there. And the fact that we had these repeating environments, especially in an open world game, I think this really served to its detriment. I mean, I can't think of playing a fully open world game that has the exact same environments and aesthetics from beginning to end. I can't think of a game that would do that, and I can't imagine myself having a good time with it all the way through. You need those different biomes. I'm currently playing Breath of the Wild again for I don't know how many time, and that's part of the allure of that game is just how different these environments get. Assassin's Creed games have different biomes, even like Origin, where you're in the desert, you're in Egypt, but it still has a bunch of different areas that you explore. So I'm surprised more people aren't talking about how samey that world is. Halo Infinite, that is, how samey that world is from beginning to end. So yeah, those are my environmental issues related to the environment. And my final criticism, there's people on the other side of this for me. I find myself wholly not in the camp of weapon. I found, I'm going to try to say it. It has a female voice, but I found myself genuinely annoyed at weapon for most of the game. I didn't find her endearing in any way. I felt like she came off, or it came off as being overly familiar. And anytime it like tried to attempt some levity, it fell on deaf ears for me. I maybe there's lore reasons, and I think maybe they tried to explain some of that during the game, but I just was put off by any interaction that I had with her. I didn't think that as an AI, as that kind of character, I just didn't think it just didn't fit. It didn't land for me. So weapon I found to be kind of a detriment as well. So real quick, let me break down what we just went through. So my positives were the feel of the guns, top notch. The movement, especially with a grappling hook, beautiful. Bounty weapons, having the second version of the weapons was great. Master Chief being a big huggy bear with emotions, love it so much. The pilot's dilemma, as a person with a family, as a man who's a father and a husband, I sympathize 100%. I thought he was very believable. And then the opening introduction to what is open world Halo was great. My negatives: the lack of co-op at launch, the strange way you select your tools, the story continuity, just not being able to follow the thread at times. The fact that while it was open world Halo, it is not actually open world Halo, and having the same environments all the way throughout the game. And then weapon as a character, as a construct, didn't do it for me. So, as a special note, I won't be able to do this ever again. But we've already recorded our 2021 Game of the Year special for my podcast, and Halo Infinite is in my top 10. So if this came off as being overly negative or overly positive, one way or the other, just know that it did make my top 10 list of 2021. I put it at number 10. I know that other people that are close to me have it higher. Other people, actually, you know what? All said and done, I probably have it lower than most. I'm glad Halo's back. I think it struck some really good notes. I think there's some things that bothered me about it, but all in all, still a fantastic game here in 2020. Well, released in 2021, now 2022. That's really all I have for Halo. If you guys have questions, or you guys want me you want to explain some things that I might have missed or anything, I'm more than happy for you guys to leave a comment down below. And check out more of these. I'll be doing this going forward. I'll try to make them fun, try to make them unique. I'll try to get better at it too. If you guys have suggestions for how to improve these videos, I'm more than happy to hear it. Be aware that I'm just one man of mediocre talents, and I'm spinning 1,000 plates at any given time. So I'll do my best. I can't make any guarantees, but I will take any feedback that I can get. I will be doing these for 2022 new releases going forward. I may have said that earlier, but I just wanted to reiterate. So these videos may happen a little sporadically. I'm a victim to the video game release schedule, and I can't say that it'll come out the day I finish a game or anything like that. But if you guys would like to see some of the gameplay that I experience live, head on over to Twitch TV, twitch.tv/CW719. I'm live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. Central Time to between 4 and 5 p.m. Central Time. And you can also check out our podcast, Procedurally Generated. It's a show about the random history of video games. We take a massive list of games, we randomize it, we take the top 3 games, and we research them. We look into them. What was the gameplay like? What was the development like? What's the industry significance, if there is any? We have very popular games that have been on lists, and we have games we've never heard of before. And it's just a really fun show. We did a special show, like I just mentioned. Our episode 35 was a look at our top 2021 games. So if you guys have any interest in that, by all means, check that out as well. And I guess I'll see you for the next video. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'll see you then. Bye.